Good morning and welcome to A Better World with Julann and Fran. I'm Julann.
And I'm Fran, and our guest today is Melanie Smithson. Welcome, Melanie.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
And could you tell us a little bit about what it is you're doing or have done to make the world a better place, please?
Oh, what a big question. Let's just jump right in. So, my degree is in somatic psychotherapy, and I have been working in the field as a therapist for 30 some odd years. And then I also do life between life, spiritual integration hypnotherapy, past life hypnotherapy. And if I'm going to sum it up in a word, couple of words, my motivation, my passion, where I focus is how do we let go of everything that we're not so that we feel more of that which we are. And mostly I do that through the body because that's my primary work. But all of these modalities come in, and it's like, how do we just keep focusing on, especially now in these times, how do we just keep focusing on bringing in more light, raising the vibration, letting in more love.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. Now, you mentioned, well, first of all, in case anybody doesn't know what somatic means, would you explain what that means, please?
Yeah, so somatic is of the body. So it includes the energy fields around the body. And in terms of therapy using somatic work, it's what what have we stored in the body? All emotions have sensations attached to them, and our work is to actually feel the sensation and let it move as the feeling arises. When that doesn't happen for so many different reasons, that gets held in the body. So, somatic work is about how do we release that by going into sensation, but also, and what my books are about, my most recent one, Shake Yourself Free, is how do we let the body lead the way? So, one of the things I say a lot is where the body goes, the mind will follow. So, if I'm feeling, really tight and I can't think, by letting myself soften and open and wiggle, I make more space for my body, which also allows more space in the mind. So, both. How do I release what's in the body, and how do I use the body to support where I want to get to?
Oh, and
Interesting.
that's very interesting, yes. And what would be the problem with allowing it to stay in the body?
Oh, so many problems. I know you must know the answer for setting me up. My husband actually does really advanced energy medicine work. And when people come to him for a cold, an allergy, MS, really severe issues, almost always there is an underlying feeling that didn't move. So when we suppress anger, I'm not saying it will, it could turn into tumors. When we don't feel our feelings, we could wind up with cancer. And I want to be clear that I'm not, saying this is anybody's fault or you got sick because of this. But the body and the mind, it's one unit. And when something is not moving, there is stuckness, and that stuckness has to find a way out. And often it comes out through physical issues. It also comes out through emotional issues. So, when I was a child, and for me, I wasn't allowed to be angry. I was teased for my redhead anger. I used to be a redhead. And so I learned to push the anger down. And that created all kinds of relationship issues where, so you can't set boundaries. It's not okay to say what I want because I might piss somebody off. And so it shows up both emotionally and physically. So there you go.
You started working on yourself, and that's how you got into this. Is that how it happened?
I did accidentally. A lot of my, I was an accountant before I became a therapist. And through a series of interactions with various people, experiences, I just started to see that there was so much more. And it was interesting because I loved my accounting work. I love numbers, still love numbers. Accounting is actually, I need a break from all this other stuff. I'm going to go do some accounting work. But what became more important to me was the relationships. So even when I was doing my own private tax practice, I was more focused on relationships in New York City so many years ago. And so, yeah, one thing led to another. I found myself in these relationship workshops. And then it was like, well, what am I going to do with my life? And I I came on vacation to Santa Fe and just came, with some friends. And I remember some of my friends in New York said, don't go. I was like, I'm going on vacation. Why wouldn't I go? They said, you're not going to come back. And so I wound up in Santa Fe. I just started doing some bookkeeping and I did some environmental work. And then I did a dance workshop and just, my love of dance. It's my Sunday practice where I'm going when I leave here. And I just got, very clear messages that this is my work through movement to support transformation. And I really do feel like my life has been like, I didn't design it. It was designed for me. And I was, I don't even want to say I was smart enough. I was somehow, I was open enough. I was somehow given the tools, allowed to follow where spirit directed me.
Nice. That's a gift.
It really is. It really is.
It really is. It's a gift to have, and it's a gift for you to become the person that you needed for
Yes.
others.
Yes, absolutely.
It's one of the most beautiful things in my opinion, that you can do.
Yeah.
Now, I think probably most of our listeners are familiar with past life regressions, but I have not heard of Between Lives therapy. What is that like?
Yeah, so this is the work of Michael Newton. Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, Life Between Lives are his books, Wisdom of Souls. And Michael Newton, his story is really interesting. He was initially working as a hypnotherapist with physical issues. And this lifetime, he would have people go to the point of origin, the first time they experienced that particular injury when it, fell off the monkey bars or as a child. And I don't know how many years he was doing this, but in a session, somebody tells him they're on a battlefield, not from this lifetime. And he's like, I don't know what to do with this. And he just worked with it as if it happened in this life. And it resolved in the same way. So then he got more interested. He started doing more past life work for resolving injuries. And in that, people spontaneously started telling him what was happening after they died. And Michael Newton was nothing but curious. I was like, tell me about that. Tell me about that. And from that, he developed this whole body of work of going in between when we're not in a body. What are we actually doing? And what we're doing is a lot. So we have creative interests, we have friends, we meet with our guides, we go to the library, we explore so many things. So this work was created out of that. And what I tell people, what's the difference between past life and LBL is in a past life, we are visiting another embodied experience. Usually it's on Earth, sometimes it's not. But when we do the life between life, we first visit a past life so that we can experience. Dr. Newton found it was easier to transition from the death scene. So we pass over into what happens after we die. And in a life between life hypnotherapy session, we typically will meet with our friends, we'll meet with our guides, and we get to ask the questions that most of us really would like answers to. Like, what am I doing here? what am I working on? What are my lessons? Why do I feel stuck with this? Why does this person drive me up a wall? Why can't I let go of this particular pattern? Those are the things that we can ask. So in a past life, I typically will work with just one, maybe two issues, whereas an LBL is really broad in terms of how much we can cover. It's actually a 4-hour session. So people come with their questions, their people, and we explore.
Interesting.
Wow. Yes, that is really quite fascinating. And I love that. Is Newton hey, did you call him a doctor? Or no? Do you know if he's a
I'm trying to remember.
Okay, well, it's all right. The only
Yeah,
reason I'm bringing it up is because I do happen to know several doctors who've written books. Dr. Brian Weiss,
right.
Dr. Raymond Moody,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
Dr. Christopher Kerr, who have all, well, Christopher Kerr works with people who are dying, but
yeah.
these things are scientifically documented. You know,
Yes.
God
Yes.
forbid you ever have to use hospice care. But
Yeah.
if you do, you will be told by probably a nurse or a physician that the person who's being treated will visit people who've already passed away. And
Yes.
these are not moments of psychosis. These are not to be medicated. The person will be perfectly happy under most circumstances, so there's nothing for you to do.
Right.
And it's scientifically documented, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting because um, Michael Newton did 7,000 LBLs during his lifetime.
Mm.
I mean, I've been doing this work now for 20 years and I've probably done 500. It's like he had to be doing them like every day for so many years to do that many. But what was, fascinating was that people told him the same things over and over again. And now people come to me for the work, and some of them have read the books and some of them have not. And they still tell me the same things. And I know my experience when I first read Journey of Souls, his first book, is that it resonated on a deep level. It's nothing my conscious mind could have told you, but there was oh, I know this. And that's what a lot of people tell me, that they read the book and it resonated. So, for whether it's, the same collective illusion that we have about what happens once we die, or whether
Can
it's
you share
real,
that
because
with us?
what's
Can you
that?
share can you share with us what they say over and over and over again?
Yeah,
It
well, they'll say things, like, oh, now I'm in the library. And, it's like, okay, describe the library to me. And, it often, everybody sees things a little bit differently, but the library is a place where, it's like they can, they're either drawn to a book or a book appears in front of them. And then that book, as they leaf through it, they see all their lifetimes. So some people might refer to this as the Akashic records, but we just, it's like the book of your lifetimes. Or they'll say, well, I'm here now with my counsel. And my counsel is arranged often in a semicircle, not always. I've had different experiences where we sit in lounge chairs together. Um, but then the counsel will appear usually in robes, sometimes with some sort of medallion. And this is really kind of fun because the medallion, I'll ask them to tell me about the medallion. And often it's something that's got like geometric shapes or something. And if it opens, I say, okay, let's, let's look at that medallion and, imagine it can, open up, come to life. And then the medallion has all kinds of information in it. Or somebody might be wearing some sort of crown with a symbol. And these, and each symbol is unique to what my client needs to hear in the moment. And then the messages are, they're they're unique and they have commonalities. So, as I was thinking about coming to this conversation today, I was remembering one of the LBLs I did back in 2012 when we were first starting to talk about the shift. I don't know if you, yeah, you remember. A lot of
Yes.
people are like, oh my God, the shift is going to, and it's like, they were saying the shift is going to take a long time. So I think that we are deep into what they were calling the shift. But one of my clients with a lot of money wanted to know how to navigate the shift and hold on to his money. They don't care about that.
I'm
They
kind of missing the point, but okay.
right. And they told him three things, and these are common messages. They said, one, be kind. Two, let go. Three, look for what connects rather than what separates. And these, especially the let go message, we hear this over and over and over again. Lighten up, let go. It's not that serious. It's not that important. You'll do it or you won't. And so there are common, themes. And what's cool is like when you're in that deep hypnotic state, it's differently, as I say it consciously, when I say to somebody, just let go, they're like, okay, well, that feels dismissive. I don't know how to do that. And everybody says that. But when you're in that deep state that happens with hypnosis, we can work at the cellular level. So if your guide says, let that go, I'm going to push back. I'm going to say to the guide, yeah, easy for you to say over there, but how do we do it over here? So that they give us more information so that my client can actually feel what a release feels like in the body and knows what to practice. And sometimes it's as simple as this. Sometimes it's imagining a balloon. Sometimes it's a little wiggle. There are so many different ways. And this is back to my book, Let Go Through the Body. How do I move everything through? So that work we can do at the cellular level in an LBL. Feel like I lost a thread somewhere. Let go, look for what connects. Yeah, and then the individual lessons, people will say, why is this person so hard? Or, yeah, I remember a session is coming up. I had a woman who had a coworker who was constantly poking at her, and he drove her up a wall. He's just like, oh my God, what do I have to deal with this person? He drives me crazy. Well, it turns out he's in her soul group. When she meets him, he starts going like this at her, just literally poking at her and
Oh,
laughing and laughing. And they had a contract for him to do this so that she would learn to stand up for herself.
oh, I love that.
And that's what we often find, that the people that drive us the most crazy are the ones that are here to teach us something. And we may not like the way they're teaching it to us. And
We probably
often,
won't.
right. But often that's what's happening. Or sometimes we'll find that we had something with them in a past lifetime where, we didn't treat them well. It's their turn. We come back into balance.
Yes. Well, on those 3 points, be kind is one of Julann's mantras.
Yeah.
Let go is a very difficult lesson. The third one was work more toward what connects than what divides.
Look for what connects. Yeah.
Look for what connects. I don't understand why it is and I believe with my whole heart and my whole mind and my whole soul that we are one spirit. In this moment, we are in three separate bodies, but we are the
Yes.
same spirit.
Yes.
Why are we so driven? And I don't expect you to answer this question. Why are we so driven? Not only to prove that we're not connected, but that I'm better than you. I'm above you.
Yeah.
What I am is somehow more valuable than what you are.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do not.
I will answer it as best
Oh,
I
you
can.
will?
I will.
Wow.
Or at least in my verbiage and my understanding. So in this whole illusion of coming into a body, there is a process of separation. It's just attached to the ego self. So the Sedona method work, which I also do, talks about how we come in as babies and we remember that which we are. We want to put everything goes in my mouth. There is no separation. I am one with you. And somewhere around two-ish, we start to hear what we're being told. You're a Melanie, you're a Fran, you're a Jewel, all of these things. You're different, you're separate, you're unique. And we like that when we come into a body. And actually, two things happen. We're like, oh, I like being cool. I like being separate, but I also miss the oneness. So, this is a battle that we all live throughout our lives. It's like longing for connection and longing for separation. So, we go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And, obviously, healthy ego development is necessary for navigating this life. And I think if we look around our country right now, we could say a lot of people do not have an experience of healthy ego development. They have an experience of unhealthy ego development. If I'm going to put it in the kindest words possible.
Right.
and then we've lost the balance. And now we're just living from ego. And we have forgotten that which we are. And that's it. And I absolutely believe, and I think this is where so much of the plant medicine psychedelic work is actually helping our younger generations. The psychedelic work reminds us of that which we are. And so this, in terms of bringing the world back into balance, there are a couple of things, one, the ability to process our emotions. It's like we've gotten, I think this is part of what happens with the ego development and thinking I am so special. Along with that there is a fear of emotions. And that fear of emotions, I've never said this before, but now I'm curious about it. I love when new thoughts pop in when I'm talking. But that emotional piece helps us remember what we are. And it's funny because I talk about this in a different way. I talk about when we're vibrating with spirit, I feel like, energy vibration is really fast. I know when I'm on spiritual retreat or involved, if I'm in an LBL, nothing sticks. My allergies go away. Everything is moving. In the emotional body, emotions, a little bit, they're waves. So a little slower than vibrating with spirit. And then in the physical body, it looks like there's no movement, even though there is. It's just really subtle. But maybe there's something here I never saw, that these waves of emotion is what connects the physical to the spiritual. And if we've cut this off, we've cut the connection off. So now we're just living as if I am this body mind. And that creates this I'm going to overpower you mentality. So how you like that for a made-up answer?
That sounds good. Yeah, sounds quite reasonable, unfortunately.
Yeah. But it's so many things. It's like the last 2 years have been so hard for so many of us. I have been doing a lot of crying, especially at the beginning. I just couldn't stop. But I think this is what the LBL work gives me, is what if this is exactly how it's supposed to be? What if this is what we need for our growth? What if the earth is only a laboratory, a learning school? What if it's supposed to be hard? What if moronic behavior is part of the formula for our growth? And I remind myself of that, just that, to remind myself, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. It feels like what is happening is so wrong at every level.
Yes.
And I don't know that.
Well, two things came into my mind while you were saying that. One is, I know in AA, they speak of having to hit rock bottom before you can, begin to improve. Perhaps
Yes.
that's where we are. And
Yes.
but my thinking was, other than that thought was, a pendulum, and maybe we've swung all the way in the negative direction. But now it gives me hope to think the next thing has to
Yeah.
be improvement.
Has to.
Yeah, but I think, since COVID for me, I my everything in my mind was kind of blown with COVID. And in thinking that, it's like, oh, I'm just, living this life and we've progressed and we don't have plagues and we don't have, pandemics. And like having a pandemic and living through a pandemic was like, wow, nothing has changed. And then I read a lot of historical fiction. Right now I'm watching Mr. Sunshine on Netflix, which I love.
Oh,
Korean dramas is my thing. But the violence and the destruction it's just part of incarnation on this earth. And I know one of the things that I've been saying is like, my life has been fairly easy and fairly blessed. I haven't gone through a shitload of trauma. I haven't, I've had my losses, I've had my struggles, but not to the degree that some people have. And here I am coming up on 70, and all of a sudden I'm living in this, I don't know what. It's like, what happened to my easy, blessed life, but, we've all been through this, building and then destruction and building and destruction and building and destruction. And maybe it's going to change and maybe it's not.
well, I need to believe it's going to change.
Yeah.
Let me have my hope. But yes, perhaps part of why you have had what you called an easy, blessed life is because you appreciated it.
Yeah. Yes, I would say that's probably true.
Yeah.
I had some really great teachers that flat out told me how blessed I was. And I didn't know. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me. I can be grateful.
Yes. Good. Well, I'm glad they did. And we're coming close to the end of our show here. Would you like to tell us about your books?
Sure. So my first book, Stress Free in 30 Seconds, goes through all the different experiences that create stress in our lives and how do we move through them quickly through the body. And my second book, Shake Yourself Free, goes even deeper with that. It's 81 somatic practices to support letting go. So it brings in a lot of the wisdom from the guides, from the LBLs, in how do we use the body to move through every experience. My third book, about to be published, is it's a mini book, and it's not, you won't find it if you search it, it's coming soon. It's called Make Some Noise, The Power of Conscious Groaning. And I'll just share a little bit about this book. It came from my dog, Kira. Kira lies in the bed every morning and goes, mm. I just started groaning with her. It's like, this feels good. And it's another way to move with everything throughout the day and let go. So all of my books are about how do I let go? How do I get more free? How do I let in more light? And as you can hear, they're all, I take things lightly. They are not heavy books. They're not full of documentation. They're just full of practical things to move through with more joy.
Oh, excellent. Julann, do you have any more questions?
Well, if there was one thing that you could have the audience do,
Yeah.
or one message you'd want them to take away, what would it be?
Yeah. I think a lot of things that we've already been talking about to, remind yourself that I am one with all that is. And maybe it's hard right now, but can I keep breathing? Can I keep remember the truth of who I am? One thing I do, this is a good thing. My guides told me when I need help to just put my arms up and say help, because they are here for us. They do want to help. And there are, sometimes people think that's cheating to get help. And I would say to the people that think it's cheating to get help, two things. One, they wouldn't help if it was cheating. And two, maybe your life lesson is to learn to ask for help. So
Excellent.
take that.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. And asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness.
Absolutely.
And how do people contact you?
SmithsonClinic.com. So my last name, SMITHSON clinic.com, has all the information about my books, about the Life Between Life, my emails. So that's the easiest way.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It was delightful meeting you.
Yes,
You as
thank you.
well.
We have 3 New Yorkers on this call. So
Oh, nice.
yeah. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for being our guest.
You too. Thank you.
This has been another episode of A Better World with Julann and Fran. Please like and share this video and subscribe, and please join us again next time, won't you? Thank you.